Okay.
Hi, we're in week 3. I'm Dr. Kim Byrd-Rider, physical therapist, and this is Mr. Christopher Tuna, clinical dietitian.
Hello, everyone.
And I just got to say, this stuff is working.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's really great to hear.
I seriously, 3 weeks ago, I wouldn't have worn these pants. I wouldn't wear these pants to work because they were too tight, and I'm not gonna wear tight pants to work.
Absolutely. Yeah. You
And
wanna
I'm
be
actually
comfortable.
wearing a fitted shirt. I'm wearing this to work.
That's awesome.
And I was like, wow, I'm wearing a fitted shirt and pants I couldn't wear 3 weeks ago. So I haven't gotten on the scale, so I don't know how much weight I've lost, but I will get on a scale. And we're going to talk about scales next week too.
Yeah, and it's really good that you're kind of using the clothes and how you feel in them as kind of a guide. Sometimes it's changes happen so gradually that it's difficult to see just visually.
Yeah.
So it's really good to go by how you feel, how you're fitting in clothes, because that's really what it's all about.
My ski pants are Velcro, and I used to have to like suck it in and Velcro, and if I sat down to eat, I'd have to unVelcro them, and I'm not doing that anymore.
Good.
Like they just Velcro, and I sit down and eat and think, wow, I've got some space in these pants.
Right. Yeah.
So, and then the other thing is, I was thinking about this because we're doing a hypnosis on bariatric, like in your head, your stomach's getting smaller. This is how bariatric patients lose weight. Like bariatric surgery, they eat 5 small meals at about 200 calories because they can't eat anymore because their stomachs are so small. And they lose hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds. People go from 600 pounds to 200 pounds on that.
Yes, absolutely.
And you're like, why do we have to have surgery? Why can't we just eat the 200 calories 5 times a day just like they're doing?
Yeah, it's a lot of times it can be mind over matter. A lot of times it has to do with what we can afford. But yeah, it's very doable for pretty much everybody. Surgery not necessary for us, right?
Surgery is not necessary to eat 200 calories a day. So so anyway, today we are going to talk about diet pills, but first I want to know about calories.
Sure, yeah.
Because I'm getting a lot of feedback of what's a calorie and what's that about. Go ahead.
So the definition of a calorie is the amount of energy that it takes to raise 1 gram of water up 1 degree Celsius. So it's essentially how much energy, how much burning energy does a substance pack into it, and that's kind of why you hear a lot about energy dense foods, nutrient dense foods, because not all foods
Calorie dense foods.
calorie dense foods absolutely. So there are very calorie dense foods that like candy bars, things high in fat. Those are very energy dense, and
So calorie equals energy.
absolutely, yes. Calories equal energy, and the more energy you burn, the more calories you're expending, the more weight you're losing. Absolutely.
So that's really interesting. So we all want to know about diet pills. What is up with diet pills? Because they're everywhere.
Yeah. So there are a wide variety of diet pills out there. Anywhere from green tea pills to there's things like I don't know if anybody's ever heard of hydroxyzine or very high caffeine pills.
What about the diabetic ones they're giving out now? The medications for diabetes. Omepilex.
Oh yes, yeah.
I don't know what it's called. There's one starts with a W. One that starts with an O.
It's not ringing a bell. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But yeah, diet pills tend to work one of 2 ways, right?
Okay.
So diet pills tend to work in trying to have you burn more energy endogenously, so within your body, so raising your metabolism with substances like caffeine, or they try to suppress your appetite so you're eating less. So those are the
Back to the small meals is essential.
Absolutely. And normally the ones that kind of try to raise your metabolism, which is the most common ones, they tend to be very high in caffeine, very high in stimulants. Speed, yes. And
let's get real.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of speed.
yeah, and it can be very dangerous,
To your heart.
to your heart. I mean, I've even experienced in my younger days before I, went to school and got a lot of education on nutrition and fitness. That is something I certainly tried. And the scariest part about it is the heart issues that I would feel. I would feel heart palpitations.
Really?
That's something that, if you, kind of feel like your heart's pounding out of your chest, that's very common in a lot of diet pills. But so just for the danger aspect, it's not something I would recommend. But
I just remember Fin in the 90s, I want to say. Yeah, it was in the 90s. It's off the market. I mean, it was illegal at some point. They stopped that. But my mother-in-law was like, oh, try this Fin. She had a script for it. And I cleaned the house all day long. And then I was like, I'm not taking this anymore. I really don't want to vacuum like a maniac for 5 hours.
Yeah, and I mean, some people like it, and that's where dependencies come into play because
some people like it, and it's called an addiction to speed.
But
that's funny.
although they can be very effective, they're not considered safe normally. A lot of cardiac issues involved, and really, it's not necessarily something that can produce long-term results for you. Really, that's a very short term, and again, like we talked about last time, again, something that could, have you acutely lose body fat, but really in the long run has you gain more weight than you
Because eventually
originally
you are
lost.
going to stop taking it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then you just go back to where you are.
Exactly.
And that's why the research really backs up what we're doing, because we're actually doing a lifestyle change, kind of a portion control change is what I've noticed from doing the 5 small meals. I try to stay at 200 calories for each one. I go over, of course, but if I shoot for 200, I can hit 250.
Right, exactly. When you shoot for the moon, even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars.
I like that. That's good. I'm in the stars.
But and breaking your meals up into 5 to 6 smaller meals per day is very efficient in your keeping your metabolism fire burning. I've always heard this saying, fat burns in the fire that carbohydrates produce.
Say that again.
Fat burns in the fire that carbohydrates produce.
Oh, so we need the carbohydrates.
You definitely need carbohydrates. People don't realize that the action of burning fat, so beta oxidation in the mitochondria, that takes a lot of energy. That takes not only does it take water, which is why that a lot of ketogenic diets tend to dehydrate us, because those processes actually, not only are you becoming dehydrated based off your daily activities, but because of the very process of changing your metabolism from converting carbohydrates to energy to fat to energy inherently dehydrates us.
Well, we were just talking about how the fire with the carbs have to light the fire.
Yes.
It's like kindling in a fire. Like you got to have the newspaper.
Yes. Or similarly, if you don't have enough energy to maintain your daily lifestyle, you're not going to be able to be physically active.
Yeah.
So keeping your energy levels up is very important too. And eating regularly is a big part of that. And breaking your meals up into smaller portions is something that can keep your metabolism from going into that quote-unquote starvation mode, dip down, where you see your insulin levels dip down, your blood glucose levels dip down, and so by the time that you eat again, maybe 5-6 hours later, if you're only having 2 or 3 bigger meals per day, you're going to be more prone. Not only is your metabolism slower throughout the day in the in-between time between meals, but by the time you actually do eat, you've actually primed your body to absorb and as many
You're
nutrients
starving,
as
suck this up.
Exactly. I don't know. The longer you go without food, and then when you finally eat something, it's almost like your body is telling itself it doesn't know when the next time its next meal is going to be. So it's going to make sure that
which it has evolved into, because we have famines throughout history where it doesn't get to eat.
Absolutely.
And so it still remembers those days, kind of, in a way.
Yeah.
Genetically.
Yeah. Our bodies haven't been told yet that we can pretty much have food whenever we want. We're
famines were in the 1940s even. This wasn't too long ago. And there was the Irish had a famine recently. Not too long ago.
Yeah, the huge potato famine.
So this is not like the body's smart. So it is hanging on to these.
It knows how to survive. It doesn't always know how to have a six-pack, but it knows how to survive very well.
That's a good point. You know what I'm really, really liking about this, and like I said, I've done them all, is I never go hungry.
Yeah.
I'm having to remind myself it's 10 o'clock, I get to eat again. Oh, look, and I'm not that hungry.
Right.
I'm a little hungry. Like when I get an inkling of hunger, I look at the clock and go, oh, it is time to eat again. But the most valuable piece I got out of before is when I eat a carb, to put a protein with it to slow it down.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I'm eating for my first meal is like a link sausage, which is 100 calories, and half of a biscuit, which is 100 calories. So I have biscuits and sausage, which is great. I love it. That's like my dream food.
Yeah.
And but I'm just eating one, and it's little.
Yeah, you don't always just have to have a slice of avocado toast in the morning.
That's right.
You know,
I'm digging that.
Yeah. A lot of times it comes down to counting calories.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think we started to touch on last time with the 1600 and the 2000.
Yes.
And counting calories can be a little bit difficult starting out, but the one thing that I would recommend to everybody is to keep a logbook and to jot down things. It's a lot easier. Maybe instead of going throughout your day and recording all of your calories immediately, you can keep that logbook, jot down what you eat and how much of it you eat, and then later on you can tally it up before dinner, so you know how much you can afford. But that's one way.
I just keep it at 200 because I go overboard.
Good.
Oh, and I think, how about this? I think this is some good advice, and I just wanted your information on it, is when you slip up, as we all do, and we just eat a whole hamburger.
The fudge days.
Yeah, so fudge days, thank you. Back in my old ways, I would start to barter and go, well, I had that whole hamburger at 1,200 calories, so I got to go negative another 1,200. So I'm going to starve tomorrow. And then I start this bartering thing, and then I spiral out of control, and I fail. So instead, this time I did do the hamburger thing. When I brought home a hamburger to cut up into fourths to eat the next day, and at midnight I ate it all.
Yeah.
So the next morning I was like, I'm just going to start over eating my 200 calories. I'm not going to do this barter negative. Okay, now I can't eat anything tomorrow.
Yeah, and that's okay. And one thing that I want people to know is that if you slip up, it's okay. If you have if you have that fudge day or something, it's important to know that you can always just get right back on track. You can always just get right back on track. I've seen so many times people, I had this, so the whole day's ruined, and then
because that's what you feel like. It's all ruined now.
Yeah, it's all ruined. The whole week's ruined. Why even do it?
I worked so hard.
Yeah, so I'll just do it all again, next week or something.
Yeah.
If you have too much food at a meal, don't stress about it. That's only going to make you feel, icky and depressed. Accept it, move on, and at the next meal, get right back on track. It's just one meal. It's just one snack. You don't want to make a habit out of it, but really we're talking about long-term changes. We're talking about lifestyle changes, and there's no way anybody can sustain that level of stress and anxiety all the time.
Every once in a while, I'm going to eat a whole hamburger.
Yeah, and there's going to be holidays too.
Oh, yeah.
But we're kind of out of the woods now.
Thank goodness. Yeah, we started this in January,
Right.
which is a great idea. Okay, well, week 3, we're doing good. So
Yes.
we're going to see everybody
Yes.
next week. We're going to get more information, and we're going to talk about, what are we talking about?
We are going to be talking, I think we're going to be talking about plateaus.
Oh, plateaus. We need to know that one, plateaus with the scale. And then also I'm going to add to this and talk about some tricks that I'm using to count calories that are so easy and simple, and I eat out all the time. So it's, people say that's the trickiest part, but I'm finding that it works. You can make anything work.
Right, exactly.
Right? Okay, so we'll see you next time. Thanks. I just wanted to talk a little bit about how I'm personally doing the calorie counting. I've calorie counted way back in the past when we used to have charts and used to have to look everything up in a little calorie book. You don't have to do that anymore. So you can just Google anything you want. So you just go, Siri, how many calories does a banana have? And it'll tell you. But you can also do types of foods, like a dish. So I had an Indian friend from India this week, and she's like, Indian food is really hard to count calories. Well, no, Google will do it for you. So I just said, hey Siri, how many calories does a cup of palak paneer have? And it said 500.
I found this on the web for how many calories does a cup of
Google is telling me right now. Siri heard me. And so it said 500, and I was like, wow, I can only have half a cup of palak paneer. I didn't realize it had so many calories, but it's the cheese, of course. Anyhow, you can put 12 ounces of lasagna, and it will tell you exactly how many calories that has. Of course, there's a little variant in there because it doesn't know the exact type of lasagna you're eating, but it's going to be pretty darn close. So I just ask my phone all the time if I'm unsure, and then once you've done it for a little while, you get the gist of what your calories are. Also, I eat out every single meal. Those of you who know me know that. If you've been to my house and you open the refrigerator, there's a half gallon of milk in there and some cartons from leftovers from the restaurant I ate at the day before, and that's it. So what I'm doing is, McDonald's has their calorie count on their menu. A lot of menus go to restaurants that have the calorie count on the menu. You can do that, and then that gives you an idea. Oh, also go to the grocery store and go to the frozen food section and go to the Lean Cuisines or Weight Watchers. Look on the back of it, and it'll tell you exactly how many calories it has. And then you can go, oh, wow, this Lean Cuisine has 300 calories. This is what 300 calorie meal looks like. And so if I'm eating 200 calories 5 times a day. 200 calories 5 times a day. That means if I had a Lean Cuisine for 300 calories, I can't even eat all the Lean Cuisine. Like, I have to leave a third of that. That's fine. In 2 hours, I'll eat the rest of it, plus a piece of toast, and that'll give me 200 for that little meal. So I just save it for the next meal because I got to eat every 2 hours. And then, I go down to the canteen down here, and I get the little Egg McMuffin. Well, I know McDonald's has and you can Google that. You can say, how many calories does an Egg McMuffin have, and it'll tell you. And so I just cut it in half, and I eat half an Egg McMuffin. And then I save it, and then I eat the other half in 2 hours. So I don't throw food away. I just save it for the next 2 hours. And then what's another trick that I've been using besides the grocery store? Oh, what I do want to tell you is when you're looking at the back of the labels for the calorie count, make sure you check the servings. That's the biggest trick that'll trick you up. Potato chips like to do this. On the back it'll say 150 calories, but there's 2 servings in there. So the servings is right next to it. If there's 2 servings in that bag of potato chips and it's 150, that means that bag of potato chips is actually 300 calories. Don't eat the whole bag. You can eat 150 calories worth of potato chips if you want to for one of your meals. But what you're finding is you're eating these small meals, so you got to get your nutrients in as well. So wasting them on a bag of chips is not such a great idea. But hey, if that's what you got to do, if you want that bag of chips, eat. I would rather eat 150 calories of chips and be satisfied and not have cravings and going, oh, I can't have chips. None of that. You can have it. Stay in the 200. And then what I'm doing instead of no sweets, because sweets will blow you out of the water, is all those vitamins that Mr. Tuna talked about. I just ordered a bunch of vitamins in gummy form. So vitamin D gummies, vitamin C gummies. All of the vitamins have gummies. So after I eat, I'm like, I really want something sweet. I'll eat a vitamin D gummy, and I feel like I'm eating candy, and those are only 15 calories. So those don't add up on you. So I feel like I'm eating pieces of candy through the day, but I'm really chewing my so eat your gummy vitamins after the meals, and that gives you that little bit of sweet. Also, what I like to do is for water, I don't like drinking water, so I do the vitamin C packets that you can get, orange flavored, and I put it in my hot water. We're in Bethel, Alaska. It's cold, so I get hot water, put the vitamin C, drink. So all day long I'm drinking this. It has a little sweetness to it, but look at the calories on those too. They're usually like 15, 20 calories. That's like going up and down a flight of stairs. So I will have that little kind of sweetish drink, vitamin. It's a vitamin drink, and I'll drink that through the day, sip at that, so I don't feel like I'm missing any sugar or sweets. And then I am also doing what Mr. Tuna said, and that is going up and down the stairs instead of taking the elevator. I work in a hospital, so it's really easy to take the elevator, and I was taking the elevator. But I'm not doing that, so I'm going up and down the stairs when I have to. I only do it like twice a day or 3 times a day, maybe. Yeah, lunch, morning. I do go up to inpatient once a day, so maybe like 4 times a day. I go up and down the stairs instead of taking the elevator, and that compensates me for all those gummies I'm eating through the day. But it's working. Yeah. I'm really excited. So if you have any questions about calories, please put them on the Facebook page, and we'll get back to you on that. So thanks for listening, and we will talk to you soon.